So I have a book tag today called the 8 Books Tag. Hi, my name is Jonathan and this is Mr. Pearson Talks Books. So this book tag is where I'm going to share with you 8 books based on a different prompt for each one. I'll be honest, I don't really remember where this tag came from or if I've even seen any videos on it, but I came across it online and it seemed like fun. So there are 8 different prompts, 8 different questions, and I'm going to share a book for each one. The first one is a book everyone should read. And for that, I picked Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan. Now, if you are not familiar with Pilgrim's Progress, it is the story of a man named Christian who is on his way to the celestial city. And along the way, he meets different people like Faithful and Pliable and the Evangelist. He goes to places like Vanity Fair, and there are different things that he has to accomplish on his way to the celestial city. Now, this book is very much an allegory for the Christian life, but beyond just being a fantastic Christian book and describing very much a Christian's walk is like on his way to heaven, it's also just a really good story. There's lots of characters and events and places that were taken from John Bunyan's book and now find themselves in everyday pop culture. For example, Vanity Fair, the magazine, gets its name from this book. So a book that everyone should read is Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan. The next one, and this may suffer from a little bit of recency bias because I have just read this in the last couple months, but that's a book that you didn't expect to love. And for that, I picked the book Remarkably Bright Creatures. And this is the story of 3 different characters. No, there's more, but there's 3 main characters. There's an older lady named Tova who recently lost her husband, and she's working at an aquarium at nights as the cleaning lady, trying to make sense of what she's going to do with the rest of her life. There's also a young man who is kind of floundering in life. He doesn't really have any direction or purpose. One day he sets out to find his father. He wants to know who his dad is. He thinks his dad is this very wealthy business developer, and so he goes in search of him. And then there's an octopus, and the octopus has taken it upon himself to take care of Tova. And all of their stories coalesce and come together in a really beautiful way. It is a little predictable, but I picked it up because I was trying to get a Goodreads bookmark and was surprised at how much I really enjoyed this book. It's not the typical type of book that I read. I don't read a lot of contemporary fiction or literary fiction, I think is what it might be considered. But I really, really enjoyed that book, and that was Remarkably Bright Creatures. Next, a book that disappointed you, and that was The Gunslinger by Stephen King. Now, I do need to preface this by saying The Gunslinger is not a bad book. It is a very enjoyable book, but prior to me reading it, I watched some videos and listened to people talk about it, and they talked about it as if this was the greatest book ever written. And so I went into it with very high expectations, and unfortunately, the book, the story, the characters, pretty much everything about it just didn't live up to the hype. And so for that reason, I found this book a little bit disappointing. It is part of a longer series, and honestly, I'm really on the fence as to whether or not I want to continue the series, which is also part of why I find it disappointing. I have a full video on my thoughts on this that I will put a link to up here, so you can go and watch that video if you're interested in other things that I have to say about it. The Gunslinger was also part of my 50 before 50 list, 50 books that I would read before I turned 50. So I did get to cross that off. Next up, a book that made you emotional, and that was Whalefall by Daniel Kraus. And again, this book may have a little bit of recency bias because I did just read it not too long ago and have a review of it that I'll put somewhere up here on top of the screen if you want to check that out. But it's the story of a young man who lost his father. His father was out diving and never returned. And because he had such a volatile relationship with his dad, as a means of getting closure, he goes out and goes diving to try to find his father's body in the Pacific Ocean. Sounds like an impossible task. Well, while he's out there, he has an encounter with a giant squid who is being chased by a whale. And one thing after another happens, and the young man finds himself being swallowed by the whale, and then has to figure out how he's going to escape in order to return home so his mother doesn't have to deal with the loss of her husband and her son. And throughout the book, there's lots of flashbacks, and it jumps back in time to show us different events that took place in this man's life with his father. And it was emotional because it reminded me, not the events and stuff, but just my relationship with my dad. My father passed away in 2021. It's hard to believe it's been 5 years. But the book caused me to reflect a great deal on not only my relationship with my dad, but in hopes that I am having a good relationship with my own children. So it did make me emotional, Whalefall. I'll be really honest, I did shed a number of tears as I read the book. The next one is a book you couldn't put down, and that's the book Pines by Blake Crouch. Now, I don't want to say too much about this because the less you know about the book before you begin reading it, the more enjoyable the book's going to be for you. Just know that it's about a Secret Service agent who wakes up in a town. He has no idea how he got there. He has no idea. He doesn't even remember why he's in this town. And he is looking for 2 Secret Service agents that went missing. And literally, if that's all you know about the story, you're gonna have the best experience. I read this book literally in 2 days, and it's probably 300 plus pages. I don't remember the exact page number, but I read it, and it is a very fast-paced book. It's very exciting. There are times where you're going to be like, I can't believe that just happened. Like, it is a crazy, wild book, and definitely worth reading. But just know that once you pick it up, you're not going to be able to put it down until you finish it. And that's Pines by Blake Crouch. A book you recommend the most. And I was going to do my best to try to keep middle grade books off of this list because I'm going to do another list just like this with middle grade books. I'm going to do the 8 books book tag with middle grade books. But a book that you recommend the most is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. This book, it's hard to believe it's been out for like 20 years, but it has had such an influence on every children's book or every middle grade book that has come out. It is a fantastic story. It's spawned movies and cookbooks and video games, and there's even entire theme parks related to it. But it's the story of a boy named Harry who learns that his mom and dad were wizards, and he gets invited to go to Hogwarts to train to be a wizard. And it is a remarkable story. Like, there's all kinds of fun, exciting things that happen. There's a troll in the bathroom. There is a evil dark wizard. It is just a wonderful book, and I think that everyone should read it. Now, I do recognize that some people may find the author controversial because of some of the stances that she takes. So if that is you and you don't want to purchase the book, get it from the library, do something like that, but definitely make sure you read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. All right, next up is a hidden gem or a book that is underrated, and I chose Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. And this is a book that I read probably a year or so ago. It was one of, I think they call it his secret novels, where Brandon Sanderson was writing a number of books, not telling anybody what they were about. And this is about a girl named Tress who, she lives in this world where the water has spores on it, and she goes on a journey to try to find her friend. And there are all kinds of wonderful characters. There's lots of exciting things that happen. It is very much, if you are a fan of The Princess Bride, you're going to love this book. And I don't hear many people talking about it anymore. Now, it may be because it's a couple years old, and so doesn't have that recency effect to it. But it is one that definitely should be read. It is a enjoyable, fun, wonderful, lighthearted fantasy. Really worth checking out. Tress of the Emerald Sea. And then the last book that I have, or the last question that I have on here, says, a book you'll never stop talking about. And for that, I chose East of Eden by John Steinbeck. And this is a book that I read earlier this year. And it is the story of two different families that live in California. And there are, in one of the families, there's a large family, and they kind of interact with this other family, the Trask family. And Mr. Trask, I think his name is Adam, he has two sons, Cal and, oh gracious, I can't remember the other one. But it's all about their life together. And Cal is finding out that his mother is not a good person. And honestly, she's one of the most vile characters I have ever read about or seen in a book. I mean, just anytime she was on the page, like, you just felt gross, like you needed to take a shower. And so Cal is struggling with the whole nature versus nurture thing. Meanwhile, Adam is raising his children and not always necessarily making the best choices in regards to raising his children. It's a long book. It's an epic book. It stretches over many generations, and it asks a lot of questions about human nature. Some people have said that it is a retelling of the book of Genesis, particularly the Cain and Abel story. And I think that you might find elements of that in it. But it is a book that I still think about as I'm going through their characters and the choices and the events that happen. I still think about them all the time. And so, if somebody asks me what's a great book to read, East of Eden by John Steinbeck. I have a video, of course I have a video, up here that I will post if you want to check out my thoughts on that. It is also one of the books that's on my 50 books before I turn 50 list. So there you go. Those are 8 books to answer the 8 prompts for the 8 books tag. I don't wonder how many times I can say 8 books in a row there. I am planning on doing a couple more in this series. So hopefully if you enjoy this video, you'll want to come back. I'm going to do 8 books with middle grade and 8 books with Star Wars books as well. So look for those in the future. But I want to know, have you read any of these books? Do you agree with my choices? Or if there was one of the prompts, what's a book that you would have put in instead? Leave those down in the comments, and I will take a look at that and hopefully get a chance to answer you back. I'm also going to put some videos up here that'll pop up. I'll put my complete list of 50 books that I want to read before I turn 50 list, if you'd like to check that out. I'm also going to put a link to if you like middle grade books and you like Stephen King, I'll put a link to that video up here as well. So you'll have those two if you want to go check those out. And as always, my name is Jonathan. This is Mr. Pearson Talks Books, and we'll see you next time.